Welcome to the Black is King decoding. I'm really excited to share with you my ideas and share with you the patterns and the symbolism that I've discovered within Black is King. One of the things that I really want to stress is that I theorize that Black is King is about sun worship. And I do think that it is almost in direct relationship to the WAP video, which is about moon and Lilith worship in my theory. And so if Black is King is about sun worship and the WAP video is about moon worship, they're almost like two of the same, but they're opposites, right? So they're like twins, right? So the sun versus the moon. They're polarizing, right? They're pulling in opposite directions. But also, the sun versus the moon is a full moon. And I really want to just bring to your attention, I made a video on Brandy versus Monica and discovered that both of them were born with a full moon. And I just really think that the full moon is a significant thing here that is showing up because we also will find that the presidential race has people that are born on a full moon. Trump is born on a full moon. Kamala Harris is born on a full moon. And Joe Biden, while he's not born exactly on a full moon, the sun and the moon are opposite when he's born. And, he's born just before the moon turns full. So there's a lot of consistent patterns here of seeing this idea of opposition and full moon. Okay. Another pattern that we're finding here is the sun and the crown. All throughout 2020, we have discovered the crown is a very important symbol of 2020. While we just lost Chadwick Boseman, who played the Black Panther, he was the king of Wakanda. We also know that the word corona has several connections to the translation, meaning the crown, in which corona means crown in Spanish. It also means sun, right? And it also can be tied to the corona in the eyes, that outer part of the pupil, I believe. So we're finding that the crown is a constant pattern that is showing up in 2020. And lo and behold, it shows up here as Beyonce calls this piece of work Black is King, right? And we also can see that this was dropped in the middle of Leo season. And Leo season is, right, the crown. It is the king zodiac, right, with the lion being the king. And also Leo is ruled by the sun. So all together now, we're finding the patterns of the crown showing up. And while you do see a lot of references to the moon and women and the beauty of women and the mother in Black is King, I will show to you why I think that this is really about sun worship. So let's begin. Okay, so first we need to look at the references to the sun. Well, the first thing that I want to first discuss is the word sun, right? Sun is spelled S-U-N, right? But also spelled S-O-N. As we know, Beyonce actually attributed this film to her son, Sir, right? So it seems as though it already has a direction from her as to what the message is and who it's for, right? So I first want to start with that. Now let's move forward. One of the things I want to talk about is the constant change in patterns of Beyonce wearing shades. Now, this actually is not just in Black is King. I've started noticing this maybe about a year or so ago where, it's been more and more prominent for her to wear shades and to wear different types of shades, different angles and, fashionable ways in which to display shades. But either way, that has been something that she has been rocking, and she continues to do so within Black is King. I also want to pull out Her. This could be a reach, but Her also came out around the time that I find that Beyonce was doing this. I can't call exact accuracy, but this artist came out in a very obscure and mysterious way at first, and she too wears shades as a part of her look, her overall look. And this is just something small, but sometimes the smallest things can be very significant. And what do you use shades for, right? What are shades used for? They're used to protect the eyes from the sun. That's it. Let's move on. So I want to focus on this picture. This is captured from King Already, the song Already. And it's talking about King already. So already we see that there's a focus on a song dedicated just to King and the crown. And you'll see that the hairstyle, actually, this hairstyle is called the Bantu knots, is formed like a crown. Actually, in a previous performance that Beyonce has done, she actually wore an actual crown, and it looks like this, but it was an actual crown. So this hairstyle looks like a crown that is on top of her head. Now, in the music video for Already, there's actually a part where she moves her head in a circular motion, in like a ticking way. And immediately I was like, oh, well, the way that she's doing that is like a clock. You know how the clock goes tick tock. Okay. And I also want to just bring up the fact that tick tock has been a very important pattern as well that is showing up subliminally in various ways. Actually, Beyonce says tick tock in one of her verses in the Savage song with Megan Thee Stallion. She also says tick tock in one of her songs in Black is King, right? Keys to the Kingdom, that song. Okay. Also, TikTok is a very important app that has been really rising above all kinds of levels in America in 2020 and has caused a lot of controversy. And it's called TikTok. Okay. Another thing is that I'm decoding Lovecraft, and the main leading male role, his name is called Tick. So there's a lot of references to the clock. Now, within this part of the video, right, Beyonce is ticking her head like a clock, and it just made me go, well, oh yeah, like that's a clock, and the sun, right, in our everyday life, if you didn't know this, creates our clock, right? So depending on what time of the day it is, the sun will be in a certain position in the sky. For instance, if the sun is directly above your head, right, we know that it's noon. So that's whether you know astrology or not, whether you believe in astrology or not, the sun creates our hours. Okay. And if the sun creates our hours, right, look at the word hours. This word has various different words in it because it also has the word Horus. Okay. Horus is the Egyptian sun god. Okay. Hours. But also, what does hours look like? Within hours, we could also find horse. Okay. It feels like it's a stretch, but it's there. It's within this word, right? Also, what's in hours is hoes. There's some hoes in this house, right? Referring back to the WAP video, right? This is etymology right here we're speaking, right? And within the WAP video, it is directly referencing Alice in Wonderland, right? It's pulling from that story. It has those themes within the WAP video. And the white rabbit in Alice in Wonderland is going tick tock. I'm late, I'm late, I'm late, tick tock, right? So we're going into the rabbit hole at this point, and I hope that you're able to follow along, right? That everything is connected, and we're seeing the patterns show up over and over again. So this idea of tick tock, right? The hours, the horses, the holes, they're all connected. It's almost like they're all the same thing, okay? And if they're all the same thing, then they're all connected to the sun. So that is the most that I will go into the theory about this being sun worship. However, I really want to elaborate on the idea of TikTok, the idea of the WAP video being Alice in Wonderland themed. And I also do feel that there are Alice in themes within Black is King. Okay, so for the area of where she is taking her head in the Bantu knots, this could be signified as the white rabbit taking you down into the rabbit hole. But a more direct reference we're going to find is on the chess table, where we have human chess pieces, which is very similar to Alice in Wonderland in the Queen's courtyard, where she is using people to, play the game. It took me a long time to try to figure out why she used the pipe in this image. Now, first off, different decodings would say that this is the goat, that this is Baphomet. Others would say that this is Hathor. I'm just sharing what the differences are. It's definitely interesting that this image is in cow skin, like the cow skin pattern, because cows kind of represent abundance in a lot of ways. But where I will astrologically tie this image to is the fact that it is a symbol of the Pushya Nakshatra in Vedic sidereal astrology. The Pushya Nakshatra. And in the Pushya Nakshatra, the cow's udder, the cow is a symbol of that nakshatra. And the Blackest King, which was released on July 31st, is right in the Pushya Nakshatra constellation. So this was dropped during the Pushya Nakshatra in Vedic astrology. But it took me a minute to try to figure out, well, what is this pipe about? And then I looked at some old adaptations of Alice in Wonderland, and the character, which is the dodo bird, also smoked a pipe. So I feel like that might be a reference to possibly the dodo bird, and maybe there's layers of symbolism within this image. Now, the next image also has different layers, right? When I first saw it, I thought of a serpent, like within the Garden of Eden. But also she's in the tree, so this could be the significance of Rafiki, right? But when we look at the Alice in Wonderland references, this could either be the cat, because I feel like the stripes were there, right? But the stripes aren't, like a cat doesn't really have stripes, but the cat was in the tree in Alice in Wonderland. But this could also be referencing maybe between these two, the caterpillar. That might be a stretch as well, because the caterpillar is smoking in Alice in Wonderland. But honestly, my first choice would be to say that this looks like she's a snake, and within the Garden of Eden. That's my best guess. And then here's the Garden of Eden during Brown Skin Girl, the flowers, right? And the Garden of Eden, the different flowers. So those were my top examples of where we see references to Alice in Wonderland, and I'm sure that there are much more options if you went to look for them. So that is the decoding of Black is King, and my overall intention here is to show you the patterns so that you can see for yourself that everything is connected. It's very rare that you're going to find something that's random, and it will be up to you to decide what you think the meaning is, but I just want to make sure that we are all in practice with this art of discernment. And so thank you so much for watching my Black is King decoding, and I'll see you guys in the next post. Peace and love.